Hey guys, welcome to the video. Super glad that you're here, so thank you for that. Today I'm going to be talking about Scrollsaw blades. And you know, when I started about a year ago doing Scrollsaw, I was so confused by all the different Scrollsaw options out there. I spent a lot of money and a lot of my time figuring out which one of these would cut which wood. And today I'm going to give you some basic principles on how to choose which blade for which wood you're cutting. So come on, let's take a look. All right, so I threw just some of my Scrollsaw blades on the table here. Important to look at here, all of these are Olson products. Now I buy Olson just because it's what's at my local woodcraft store, but really you can buy anything you want. But right below Olson, you can see different names of blades. Okay, you have reverse tooth, you have spiral tooth, you have skip tooth, you have double tooth, you have crown tooth. There's a bunch out there, okay? And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna learn which one of those blades does what. And then we'll get into what size for what kind of wood you're cutting. So number one on our list, skip tooth, okay? Skip tooth is excellent for fast cuts that provide smooth finishes and good chip clearance. Now, it's important to call out that all of these blades on the table are 5 inches long. That's what my RBI Hawk Scrollsaw takes. And that's really a standard amongst the industry. Now, some might be longer, some might be shorter. But before you buy any, make sure you find the ones that fit your saw. So, skip tooth is a great learning Scrollsaw blade. Anybody that's just getting into Scrollsawing, I think skip tooth is a wonderful one to choose. Now, I'm going to take pictures, or you can do screenshots of each of these recommended blade for the material that you see. Okay, so if you are cutting a hardwood that is 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, then you probably want to use a 7, 9, or 12. Okay, so U means it's usable but not recommended, and R means that that's what they recommend for the job. So back to this first example, this hardwood 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch, you really should be looking at a Scrollsaw blade skip tooth size 7, 9, or 12. Okay, and I typically like to use the lowest number I can so that I get more TPI, and your TPI is your teeth per inch, and I just get a cleaner cut whenever I have more teeth per inch than say some of the higher numbers and the lower TPI. All right, so I'll provide pictures of that blade selection chart that I just went through, but I don't want to sit here and go through every Scrollsaw blade. I wouldn't want to watch that on a YouTube video, and I doubt you do either. But first, I do want to call out each of these teeth cut differently. Okay, and so now I'm just going to go through a quick overview. We just went through what skip tooth does and how they cut, but what about reverse teeth? So if you look at reverse teeth, it has teeth going up and down, and so when the blade goes up and down, it's actually cutting in both up and down motion. Okay, double teeth mean that there are 2 teeth compared to just one in a shorter distance. Okay, and so that just means it cuts even faster than your regular skip tooth. If you look at crown tooth, it cuts on the up and down stroke as well, but the blade teeth are oriented in a different fashion. I actually like crown tooth a lot, so that's probably my intermediate to advanced choice. And I use that for intricate small pieces similar to this, and I would use something like birch plywood, maybe 3 to 6 millimeter. And then you have spiral blades. Spiral blades are interesting in the sense that these blades can cut any different way that you move the board. And so instead of moving the board to cut with you, you are just moving the board left, right, up, down, and the blade is cutting circles. So wherever you move the board, that's where it's going. Where something like reverse tooth, the blade is just going in a straight fashion, and you're moving the board to go left, right. Okay, you can't just go backwards and cut like a spiral blade can do. Moral of the story is you have to pay attention how you think the machine is operating. You know, you can't choose a number 7 blade because that's what's recommended for Paduke and walnut. You might have to do a number 9 blade for Paduke, and then walnut you can get away with a number 5. Same thickness, different density, different weight, different way it's cut. Okay, some woods are just harder cut than others. So you really have to pay attention to how the machine is going through the wood. So let's look at a couple examples of the machine going smoothly through the wood versus the machine just not operating to its full potential. All right guys, for this first cut, I'm gonna be using this RBI Industries number 2, and the width is 0.029, thickness 0.012, TPI 20. It's 5-inch length. Okay, I'm going to be cutting. This is birch plywood, and it's 3 millimeters. Okay, so it's important to call out this is birch plywood, so it's going to be a lot easier to cut than some other woods. So let's see how it does. Listen how easy and smooth that's cutting, okay? This machine is not working hard at all to cut this wood. All right, guys, so Scrollsaw blades really should be a clean cut, okay? And it's important to realize that it's a clean cut based off your blade selection. If I put another blade in here that's too big, then it's not gonna leave this crisp, clean line. Let me show you. All right, guys, with this same blade, number 2, okay, I'm gonna cut this 3/4 thick cut Paduke. Let's see how it cuts compared to that birch plywood. Let's see. Okay, so it did cut it, but you can see, you know, after 20 seconds plus, it didn't go very far. Okay, it did not go very far at all. So you can tell that this blade, this number 2 blade, is much better suited for a thinner birch plywood that's only, you know, less than 10 millimeters or 1/4 inch thick versus something that's 3/4 thick that's a super dense hardwood. Okay. All right, guys, let's look at another blade here. So it looks like I jumped up to a number 12. Okay, look at the difference in these numbers here. This one's 0.062 width, and it's got 9 teeth per inch, 9.5 teeth per inch. So let's see how this cuts on that same birch plywood, and let's see how it cuts that same Paduke 3/4 of an inch. Wow, that took me for a ride. And to be honest with you, it was not fun to cut. The machine was just trying to eat way too much wood per stroke, okay? And that's why you have a lot of tear out here at the bottom. And you know, when you're working on intricate pieces, you're gonna have to sand all those little pieces here if you go with an aggressive Scrollsaw blade like this, okay? So this job, you can see the pieces just laying here because it was ripping through the board and not cutting it smoothly like that other blade was. But let's see how the same number 12 skip tooth works on this Paduke 3/4 inch. right, let's take a look. So now if we look at this, this is a little bit rip out. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, there's some, and some of that's just me pushing hard against the wood so that you don't have to sit here and watch me cut a chunk out. But really, you know, when you're scroll sawing, get comfortable, take your time. These thicker hardwoods are gonna take time to cut, and you can't force the blade to do more than it's designed to do. So, moral of the story here, higher the scroll saw blade, thicker the material to cut. Lower number on the scroll saw blade, thinner woods to cut. You'll know when your machine's cutting right, when it sounds good, when it's feeding the wood properly at a good rate. You'll know if your speed's right, if you need to increase or decrease. The longer you scroll saw, the more you're gonna learn. So don't try to hurry up that process. Just realize when something doesn't seem right, change the blade. Okay, and maybe you have the right blade, but maybe that blade just went dull. Okay? So don't be afraid to change these blades out, guys. These blades do get dull relatively quick. Okay? All right, with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned something. Okay? Like, leave a comment. I try to get back to every single person that leaves a comment, and subscribe to help the channel grow. Thank you all.